Hi everyone, I'm Nicola from Elimee Designs, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do the crochet corner to corner stitch. So, very simple. All you're going to need is some yarn to do your stitching with, the crochet hook that matches up to the size of the yarn that you're using, and a pair of scissors to cut your end at the end. So, top tip, ways to find your ends and stop it all unraveling. I use a little hair clip. Okay, so first thing you're going to do is unravel some yarn and make a slip knot. There we go, little slip knot there. Pop in your hook, give it a little tug to tighten things up. Now, everybody does things slightly differently, but I start mine by chaining 6. Excuse the fact that my hook seems a bit squeaky today. So we've got our 6 chains just there. And next in the 4th chain from the hook, so 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to place a double crochet. Now I am working in US terms, so please bear that in mind. You're then going to place a double crochet in the last 2 chains. Sorry, my yarn's got stuck. Let's unravel a bit more, make it a bit easier. Okay, so there you have it, your first little corner to corner square. So what I do is I then chain 6 to start the next row and do exactly the same. So starting in the 4th chain from my hook, I'm going to do a double crochet, 1 into the next chain, and 1 into that final chain. So you've got your second little square. Now I'm going to turn my work so that my 2 squares are now lying next to each other. And this top little loop here, if you can see it, is your original chain 3 that you didn't work into. So what you're going to do is you're going to pop your hook into that chain 3 space, grab your yarn and do a slip stitch. So you've now joined your 2 little squares together. I'm then going to chain 3. Sorry, I just need a bit more yarn. Okay. And then into that same chain 3 space, I'm going to place a further 3 double crochet. So, it may not look like much so far, but here you've got row 1 of your corner to corner, and you've got row 2 with 2 squares. So I'm going to show you one more time, so we're going to make row 3. So the start of each row, because our rows are currently getting longer, is always that chain 6. And then placing those 3 double crochets starting in the 4th chain from the hook. And then twisting your work up so it's facing the right way, putting a slip stitch into the chain 3 space of that first square, chaining 3 to get to working height, placing 3 more double crochets into that chain 3 space, and then we're just going to repeat that going up to the next square. So hook through that chain 3 space, do a little slip stitch, chain 3, and then 3 double crochets into that chain 3 space. So now you can see you've got 3 rows. Row 1 with 1 square, row 2 with 2 squares, and row 3 with 3 squares. Now, as long as you want your item shall we say. To keep getting bigger, you're going to keep following the same process. So you're going to always start with that chain 6 square, give it a twist, and then slip stitch 3 double crochet, slip stitch 3 double crochet, slip stitch 3 double crochet. And you're going to keep doing that until you come to the section where you want to decrease. So I'm going to pause the video, put a few more rows in so you can see what it looks like as it gets bigger, and then show you how to start decreasing. I'll see you in a moment. So as you can see, I've crocheted a few more rows of corner to corner. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in total. And now I'm ready to start my decrease. So how you decrease, to some respect, depends on whether or not you're trying to make a square or a rectangle object. If you're going to make a square, which is what I'm going to do, then you're going to be decreasing at both ends in order to make it into that square shape. If you want to make a rectangle, you're going to decrease just on the one side so that you get a straight edge here until you reach your desired length, and then start decreasing from this side so that it meets up to make that rectangular shape. So in order to decrease, instead of chaining 6 to make the first square of the next row, I am going to flip my work over and do some slip stitching. Now again, everybody does this differently. Some people slip stitch into the top of the 3 double crochets. I tend to slip stitch, so my first one here between the 2 double crochets, the next one between the next 2 double crochets, and the next one between the last double crochet and that chain 3. Okay, so you've managed to move yourself over to this corner without gaining any extra height, so you're going to start getting that squaring off of this edge. So the next thing that you need to do, let's just grab a bit more yarn, is turn your work, because you're now going to be working your row up in this direction. So instead, again, of doing that chain 6, you're going to go straight into those chain 3 style squares, where you do the chain 3, 3 double crochets, and then slip stitch into the next square. And I'm just going to quickly do this all the way up my row to show you how to decrease at the other end. Now, as you can see, let me just grab some more yarn again. This is the square I have just completed and is at the same height as the square next to it. If I was still increasing, I would continue doing my slip stitch, chain 3, 3 double crochet to make another square here. But as I'm making a square, I am decreasing at both ends. So I am going to slip stitch into that next square as if I was going to carry on making more squares upwards. Flip my work, do those 3 slip stitches as we did at the other end. So between the 2 double crochet, between the 2 double crochet, and then between the double crochet and the chain 3. And then again, we're just going to turn our work through 90 degrees and carry on with those chain 3 starting squares. So we've chained 3 and now we're placing the 3 double crochet. And then we slip stitch into the next square. And as you can see, once we've blocked it so it's a bit better shaped, you are now working up this side instead of extending it. So I'm going to move along this row. Whoops, just slipped off. And I will pause the video so that I can show you how to finish your square or rectangle, depending on what shape that you are making, and go from there. So as you can see, I have just finished my last little corner to corner square and slip stitched here into the square next to it. Now, by all means, you could tie off your yarn here and secure it. However, I like to, personal preference, finish in the corner. I think that after you've woven in your ends, it just looks a little bit neater. So if you just flip your work as if you're going to carry on, do your 3 little slip stitches, and then obviously do your chain 1 and pull it tight. So there you have it, a little corner to corner square, although you might have a rectangle if you've been making a rectangle. You repeat the same process either with more or less rows depending on how large or small the item is that you're trying to make. I do hope that you have found this tutorial to be helpful. Please comment below if you would like any other stitch tutorials or any other videos that might be helpful. And until we meet again, happy crocheting!